Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this video. I'm going to break down step by step exactly how we audit Google Ads accounts. And this is such an important skill to have if you are looking to improve your Google Ads results, or if you are new to the Google Ads space and you're looking to start. Now, my name is George Clements. I'm the CEO and founder here at ClickSpring. We are managing over $500,000 per month in Google Ads spend. And I am here to make these videos to show you how scaling can really be simple with Google and YouTube ads. All right, so let's jump in. You can see I've got a nice mind map here to break down. I also have some screenshots as well as examples, okay? So the first thing that you want to be doing when you're auditing a Google Ads account, by the way, when I say audit, if you don't know what that means, it kind of means to go through systematically and look at what is going on. So see what can be improved, see what's going well, all of these things, in order to get better, basically, right? So the first thing that we want to do is look at conversion tracking, okay? Now, conversion tracking, and I've said this so many times, is probably the thing that 90% of Google advertisers get wrong, okay? It's so common for conversion tracking to be wrong, and really, it doesn't have to be that hard. I'm gonna be honest, it does not have to be that hard. So let's jump into what you should be looking for, okay? So first things first, you wanna go to tools and settings, and then you wanna go to conversion tracking. And it's gonna look something like this. You're gonna have purchase conversion actions, you're going to have add to basket conversion actions, you're going to have page view conversion actions, on and on and on. There's lots of different types of conversion actions you can have. However, there's typically only going to be one that's really important to the business, okay? So first things first, you want to go and check the conversion tracking quality, okay? So firstly, is it registering conversions? Are we seeing, has enhanced conversion tracking being added? Is it using data-driven attribution? All of these things, but do the numbers add up kind of thing? That's the first thing to look at. We want to see, is the conversion action set to primary, okay? So the most important conversion action should be set to primary with everything else being secondary. Let me explain why that is. In Google Ads, you have obviously these actions that are valuable to your business, okay? So for lead gen, that might be someone filling out a form. If you're a dentist, you're a plumber, something like that, or getting a quote, or giving you a call. For e-commerce, it's going to typically be a purchase, okay? That is your primary conversion action, and you want to set it to primary so that Google optimizes towards it. That means that it will count it as a conversion, and when you are setting your bid strategies, e.g. max conversions or max conversion value, Google will then optimize towards getting more of those conversions. So it's going to look at customers who have converted in the past, and it's going to go after similar customers who have similar interests, who hang out in the same spots on the internet. So it's so important to be able to optimize towards that and leverage Google's machine learning. So that's why we set the primary action as primary, and then everything else to secondary. So secondary means it's not going to be counted as a conversion. It's just being observed. It's just being counted. It's just there for you to use, the data, right? And it's still gathering data. So if you did want to set it to primary in the future, it's going to be ready to go just like that. It's not a brand new conversion action, okay? And I mentioned enhanced conversions before. Enhanced conversions is so important, especially right now, when you have a load of things like people going around with ad blockers, people going around obviously after iOS 14 with significantly more privacy settings. All of these things mean that using enhanced conversions is essential. This is essentially where Google can bypass things like ad blockers. It can bypass things like cookies, all this kind of stuff, and actually match customers who convert back to Shopify, for example, if you are an e-commerce business. I'm going to be honest. We actually hire a conversion tracking specialist who knows this far better than I do, and he handles all of the conversion tracking stuff. It's very, very complicated, but it's very, very important. So make sure that you ask your current agency or whoever is running your ads if they have it installed, because it is very important. Okay, we've seen up to 20% increase in registered conversions just from turning this on over the a period of a few weeks. Okay. Cool. Let's jump into audiences now. So this is another really important setting. The audience manager, right? So we want to be asking, are there relevant audience segments? So do we have audiences for website visitors, audiences for abandoned carts, audiences for product viewers? And are these audiences segmented by date? Okay, because for example, website visitors in the last 30 days are far more warm than website visitors over the last 180 days. So it is important to segment these audiences by date, okay? And have a customer list that's been added as well, okay? So here's an example of what the audience manager looks like. You can see We have, visitors. We have remarketing audiences with visitors excluding purchases. So this is a custom audience that you can build in Google Analytics, for example. You have, shopping basket abandoners. There's a bunch of different audiences in this account, but you want to make sure that you have a bit of everything so that you can effectively build remarketing campaigns. So we recommend that you include, at least these things. Previous purchases might make sense for your business as well. If you have a repeat purchase component, if you're selling skincare, if you're selling consumables, things like that. And also make sure to add customer lists. Okay, so download your emails from Shopify or Klaviyo, add them into Google Ads, and Google Ads will actually go after those emails, go after those people, and target them. And that's really low-hanging fruit, easy conversions to receive in your campaigns. And then just make sure they're in use, right? Just make sure that the audiences in the account are actually being used. Otherwise, they're being wasted. Okay. Next, let's talk about overall performance. Okay, so how is the account performing as a whole? Once you've got the technical stuff out of the way, let's zoom out, bird's eye view. How is the account performing, right? Because at the end of the day, we are all here to make sales, right? We're not going to run Google Ads if it isn't to make sales or to lift awareness, I guess, but whatever. So we need to make sure that the account is actually performing. So is ROAS in KPI? KPI means key performance indicator. When we say in KPI, we mean it is in range that where we want it to be. So is the return on ad spend good? Are we spending what we want to be spending? Is the budget limited, or are we actually spending the goal spend? And if we are, spending what we want to spend and getting the right ROAS, then we're hitting our target. We don't even need to look at any other metrics, right? If we want to make 40K and our goal ROAS is a 4x, we spend 10K, we get a 4x, we make 40K, we're happy, right? So that's what we want to look at. Conversion rate is nice just to kind of get an understanding of maybe the landing page. Is the landing page, underperforming? You can get, a few insights such as that. If CTR, so click-through rate is high, but conversion rate is low, it's not really a Google Ads issue. It's probably going to be a landing page or product page issue. So yeah, just kind of think logically and make sure you use the compare feature as well. As you can see here, this is a screenshot of one of our clients' dashboards who has spent 2.69K in the last month to bring back 13.3K. So they're very happy. They have a goal ROAS of over a 4x, obviously quite a low budget, but we work with all budgets, all business sizes. And so we're comparing this to the 30 days previously. We can see an increase in ROAS, a slight decrease in sales, but also a pretty big decrease in cost. The client's aim is to be profitable anyway at this point, so that's absolutely fine. And CPCs are staying the same as well, which is good to know. Okay, cool. Also, you can look at the individual campaign level. It's going to give you a good understanding of performance max, search and things like that. So let's touch a little bit on campaign breakdown. So once we've established where the account is in terms of performance, we want to actually dig down into each of the campaigns, or at least the most the highest spend campaign, the most important campaign in the account, to see if it is set up according to best practices. Now, typically, if we're doing a brief audit, we'll just jump into the highest spending campaign, which is typically going to be a performance max campaign. However, if you really want to extend and increase the audit's depth, then you can go into pretty much each of the campaigns in the account. All right. So let's say we're going to just touch on the performance max campaign. Now, typically, as I said, this is going to be the highest spend because performance max, has more or less always the highest budget out of any other campaign. Why? Because it's easier to scale. You've got shopping, search, YouTube, so you need a higher budget. And usually this is the easiest campaign to scale. It's really the revenue engine of any good e-commerce brand's Google Ads account. All right. So what are we going to check? Well, we're going to check things like search term insights. So, is, for example, the brand name coming up again and again in the search term insights, and is it generating the most conversion value over cold search terms? We're going to check asset performance. So which assets, headlines, images, videos are performing well. We're going to look through the listing group. Is the listing group segmented properly? Do we have relevant asset groups with the relevant products inside of them? Which products are performing well, which aren't? Product performance right here. Is there specific products that are dragging the campaign down? Let's look at final URL. Are we using final URL? If not, why not? Does it make sense to, or does it not? And then let's also check bid strategy, right? Are we using max conversions when we should be using max conversion value? Things like that. Okay, and you can see, for example, just jumping into a example campaign, PMax campaign here. This is a client of ours that sells cakes. We can look at things like asset groups. We can look at things like audience signals. Could we add more to the audience signal? There's so much to dive into here. And Performance Max really, it's kind of like brain surgery. There's so many moving parts, so many pieces to get together. So there's always a lot of money to be found, when you're auditing accounts. There's a lot of money being left on the table here, typically in Performance Max campaigns. All right. And finally, let's jump into management quality. So this is a really important one that a lot of people overlook when they're doing their audits. And it's simply, is the account actually getting enough love? Is the account getting enough attention? It's all well and good knowing, hey, is the conversion tracking good? Is the performance good? All of this stuff. But if the account isn't actually getting worked on, if it isn't getting improved, then there's a bigger issue at play here than just the media buying. Okay, so look at things like the change history. Is the account actually for example, our Performance Max campaigns being optimized on a weekly basis at least? Are overall campaign changes being, is the frequency acceptable? We should be seeing multiple changes at least a week. Now, of course, you don't want to over-optimize. That's just as bad. But I've seen accounts where there haven't been changes in 3 months, and I can promise you there are almost no situations where that is acceptable. Okay, so make sure the account is getting enough love. Make sure that budgets are being scaled up progressively. What we don't want to see is over perhaps a 90-day period, conversion value just staying more or less the same. We want to see a gradual increase in conversion value, ideally a gradual decrease in things like CPAs, of course, but that is a pretty difficult thing to achieve. But yeah, definitely at least an increase in conversion value and probably cost alongside that. Shows the brand is growing, shows the account is growing. We don't want to just see stagnation. That's not a sign of growth. And, for example, are any campaigns limited by budget? Are there big warning signs going off in the account? Because if so, then obviously things need to be fixed. Okay. And, quick example of that is just looking in the change history here. We can see my brilliant account manager going through and making multiple changes, which is, what you want, right? Cool. So I will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching this quick video. I hope you learned a few things. Now, of course, there are many other steps to auditing a campaign. There's many other processes, and I may do a future more in-depth video down along the line. We actually have resource templates that we could potentially give out just to kind of incentivize you a little bit to stick around. But nonetheless, I hope you learned a few things. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe below. If you're interested in potentially getting an audit like this for yourself, we actually give free Google Ads audits. So if you're interested in seeing whether your performance is good or it could be improved, go ahead and click the first link in the description. You can get a one-on-one call with me, and we'll walk you through the exact steps that we want to take to audit your account and make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. All right. So yeah, appreciate this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.